Welcome to Not Entirely Unlike Tea with Christine Collins. Hey there, it's Christine Collins with a fun little topic today around people giving unhelpful advice, often unwarranted or unasked for advice. And that advice takes the tone of something along the lines of, you just need to let it go, just stop worrying, or you just need to get over it. And of course, there are many other variations. So the interesting thing is about the way that our brains work. When we are in a state of concern or worry about something that is on our mind, and during that state of stress or anxiety, our amygdala is activated, that's our brain's emotional alarm system, being given a command to just stop or get over it actually increases that amygdala activity rather than calming it down. It can be thought of as ironic processing, trying to suppress a thought that actually makes it much more prominent. And we know this because in the hypnosis realm, we understand that if we suggest a visual image, but then tell the person not to think about it, such as whatever you do, don't think about an image of a pink cake or a pink elephant. The next thing that tends to happen is people will conjure up an image of a pink cake or the pink elephant and only then make an effort to try to suppress that conjuring. It doesn't work very well at all. So being told to just get over it actually draws our brain's attention and anxiety and stress response even more strongly to the problem or issue, and only intensifies the emotional response. Now, the way that we process our emotions and challenges that come up is complex and involves the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and our limbic system. Our amygdala, that emotional center, can temporarily overpower the prefrontal cortex, which tends to handle the rational thinking and the emotional regulation. So having simplistic messaging really goes against the simple neuroscience and the reality of the way our brains actually operate. It's like telling somebody who has a broken limb to just walk it off. It doesn't change the fact that the leg or arm is broken. Additionally, that type of advice can trigger feelings of invalidation, and that can activate the anterior cingulate cortex, which processes social pain, which leads the person to feel even worse than they were already feeling before getting the unhelpful advice. And actually, the brain responds much better to messages of validation and support, acknowledging their concern, acknowledging their real lived experience and their real worries, whether or not the other party agrees with them being worried or agrees with the matter of concern. When emotions are acknowledged, the prefrontal cortex can gradually re-engage with the amygdala, and that helps to process those difficult feelings more effectively and more quickly. And there are many techniques that are useful, many tools that are useful, things like mindfulness, things like EFT tapping, things like hypnosis, various forms of therapy, and even things like physical activity, and the list goes on and on. The most effective techniques don't try to just shut down the emotion, but create space to observe them or to work with them in a more constructive way. And that also helps to activate the prefrontal cortex, which is our logical thinking, without directly challenging that amygdala, more irrational emotional activity. We can also gradually reshape the way that we're looking at the situation. However, in a state of heightened emotion, that can be very challenging to do initially. So it's helpful to have a series of tools that can first calm down the emotional response and then allow for that prefrontal cortex to come in and take a more logical, rational approach. But simply telling a person to just not do that is highly ineffective and very likely to make it much worse. When we feel supported, we get another added benefit. When we feel truly heard and comforted and validated, our brains may release oxytocin, which naturally helps to regulate the amygdala's response as well. Sometimes simply just being present with the person who's in distress is even more helpful than trying to offer solutions. So phrases that validate the emotion are a lot more effective, like "that sounds really challenging," "I can understand why you're struggling with this," "is there anything I can do?" "It seems like you're feeling really overwhelmed right now." All of these would be more effective than saying something like "calm down." And sometimes, if you're not quite sure what to say, it can be helpful just to ask, "How can I support you right now?" Or "What type of support would be helpful for you right now? What are you looking for from me right now?" And allow that person to respond with what it is they truly actually need. And it may not be the same for each person. For some, they may wish not to talk about the problem further. For others, they may want to just feel heard. So we're all unique in how we process stressful things. So whenever there is a temptation to tell someone to just stop worrying, to just let it go, to just get over it, and they're clearly in some amount of emotional distress, it's helpful to just remember that our brains do not work that way. If they make the decision and they take the actions and they move forward with choosing to ignore it or let it go or whatever that looks like for them, that's one thing. But offering that as advice is incredibly unhelpful and most likely will just further increase the stress. Emotions aren't switches we can just flip, but more complicated neuroscientific processes that we can benefit from better understanding in order to better help ourselves and others. So if you've been given advice like this and you can't figure out why you just can't let it go, it may be helpful to know that there's nothing wrong with you. This is a perfectly normal response to stressful situation and concerns and worries. And everything is working exactly as designed. And if you find yourself looking for mindset tools that you can use on your own, whether for moments of stress or for moments of calm, with the intention of visualizing things that you desire or making progress on your goals and plans, I offer a variety of tools that are highly supportive for both of these scenarios in my monthly mindset membership, which includes on-demand 24/7 access to hypnosis audios, yoga nidra journeys, EFT tapping videos, meditation audios, and a variety of other tools. You can check all of that out in the show notes, and until we connect the next time, I wish you the most magical and creative rest of your day. Thanks for listening. This is Christine Collins at transformcreate.com.